Let's talk Big Ten, Pac-10, Pac-12, Big 12, your mom's house. Because Rich Rodriguez, the former coach at Arizona, kind of lit the world on fire today. So here's the latest of what's going on in the Pac-12 existential crisis, where the Pac-12 is trying to get this TV deal done. And there's all of these wild rumors hanging around. The latest that we've been told, sources close to ESPN and the TV networks have told us point blank, negotiations are over. The Pac-12 is talking with their presidents through their executive committee. So the way that it's set up, and this is an important detail that I hope everybody understands. In the Pac-12, it's not George Kliavkoff doing conference calls with all the presidents. There are 3 presidents on the executive committee led by President Kosei at Washington. George Kliavkoff and the executive committee have essentially been working together the entire time. They have been well aware, and what happens is George liaises with the executive committee. The executive committee is talking constantly. They have what they call pods. They talk to, one president talks to 2 people, this, people, that,
hey,
and they collectively give him feedback throughout the process. Because the way these contracts have been negotiated, it's not like George is like, yeah, let me, man, you know what, ESPN, man, I don't like your tone today. Let's talk. I'll call you back later. It's not like that. They have scheduled times, their meetings. Like, it is not like they've talked 1,000 times. This is a very deliberate and direct process. ESPN and Amazon as well are at a point with the Pac-12 where they've said, this is the number, take it or leave it. And George Kliavkoff is at a point where he has been negotiating with ESPN and Amazon, Apple TV. I know of several others he's talked to, but got no traction, never went anywhere. The point is, it's really down to ESPN and Amazon, as we've told you from the jump. And now they are trying to figure out how to get all 10 of these presidents on board to sign this grant of rights. And one of the major questions right now is, what is the long-term viability of the conference? Because one of the things I found so shocking today was in a great piece by the legend Dennis Dodd. What's so remarkable is Rich Rodriguez told Dennis Dodd what is to stop Oregon and Washington from going to the Big Ten, from Arizona and Arizona State from going to the Big 12. I would think, and this is the critical line, I would think they're teetering on the brink right now. And I've got to tell you, how many times have we said that almost exact same thing? Oh, well, if that's not enough, Rich Rod also said, I know most everybody can get ESPN or streaming things. You're not going to have it on in bars. Your visibility will never be the same ever. Then there's just the perception, oh, you guys played, I didn't see it, and then you won't be talked about. Rich Rod listens to the show because we've said that exact same thing on this show. The biggest concern with streaming is assimilation and recruits being comfortable with it, because it's another $10 bill for mom or my uncle or my friends to pay to watch my football games. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a big concern. I think being on in sports bars, we specifically talked about this.
Yes.
Like, if you think about Tempe, Arizona.
Yeah.
Right, where we're going to be next week.
Mill Avenue, where ASU is.
And all the TVs on Mill Avenue in Tempe. There's a row of bars that just have TVs with football games on them. And your games won't be one of them. Unless that bar finds a way to dial up Amazon Prime Video Sports, which I'm sure there's a solution for that.
Yeah.
The bottom line is, though, if it's Big Ten After Dark and it's Ohio State and USC at the Coliseum, what game do you think they're going to have on? That's the problem. That's the problem. And if ASU's on Amazon Prime and they don't have access to that, that's the problem. So I guess where we at on the bottom line of this, Jake, is I think Rich Rodriguez hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely one of the biggest concerns that the Pac has. There's just no way around that. Now, I will also say that I think that there's a decent chance that Jimmy the sports bar owner has probably upgraded at least one of his TVs to a smart TV in the last decade. You know what I mean? So for me, I do agree with what Rich Rod is saying, and we've said it on the show. Hey, if you're not on a core network, NBC, Fox, CBS, ESPN, if you're not on one of those, you're really taking a huge risk as far as the public view, like viewing in a public setting. Whether that's a bar, whether that's a tailgate, whatever, right? In a public setting, you're taking a big risk. But I think that the viewer at home, the viewer who is not a TV watcher, consumes on their phone, maybe is an ASU student and just is kind of a casual fan because they go to that school and they just want to catch a game on their phone once in a while, you're fine. The problem is that's not the fan that pays the bills. No. That's the problem. And that's where I really struggle, because I don't feel like there's a real, solid, all-encompassing answer for the pack. They're going to have a distribution deal, but it's going to be split up into almost like different planets if you really think about it, because DirecTV, the cable satellite consumer, that's one sect. The smartphone, cable cutter, consumer is another sect. The 19-year-old freshman at ASU who wants to get drunk while watching the football game is another sect. And I'm not even it's tongue in cheek, I know, but that person's really valuable to you because you need that bar owner to buy your game. You need your game on in that bar.
That's right.
That's why I said yesterday on the show, yesterday at the end of the show, we had a conversation about this documentary that was it Amazon or is it Netflix is doing on the adult content industry, the pornography industry. And it really got me thinking, hey, if we're talking about that, that sort of same logic to me sort of applies in the sense that you have to be on the cell phone and you have to be really easily consumed. It can't be difficult. Like this Utah Jazz TV deal, right? Whatever they do, the cell phone has to be involved. And I find that being this common narrative. The SEC, why do you think that SEC deal with ESPN is so valuable? Why do you think they paid $300 million? Because of ESPN Plus, because it's on the phone. That's the essence of it. So to me, I think if you're not being seen in bars, if it's not easy to find you, if I got to, Pat McAfee show the other day. We're trying to find Pat McAfee show the other day.
Yeah.
And we're trying to find FanDuel and, all these options. And it winds up that it's just on YouTube. And I'm like, dude, you got to tell that story, bro. It shouldn't be that hard to find you.
Yeah. I think Rich Rod nailed this. And again, I know that we've beat this story into the ground, but now it's not just us saying this. Now it's not just the hacks on YouTube. Now we're not the only ones saying that, hey, if you're going to do it, just understand. If you're going all in on streaming, just understand what the perils of that are, right? And for the Pac-12, I don't know that your TV deal can get any worse because everybody wants to talk about Pac-12 after dark. Those are not the games that you should be concerned about. You need wide-reaching distribution and availability of all of your football games. All 5 of your games every weekend need to be readily available to fans.
Yeah.
And right now, you're getting 1 or 2 games a week that are readily available.
And that's the other issue with the Amazon piece. Amazon doesn't want all your games.
No.
They want 1 game.
No, and I think I see all the comments ripping Rich Rodriguez. Listen, you can say whatever you want about Rich Rod. He's won. He's been in the Pac-12. Now, it was pretty much a disaster at Arizona when he told us at Pac-12 Media Day, we can't recruit to Tucson.
Literally, he said that.
He sat in front of us and said, we are not going to recruit high-level players to Tucson.
Y'all feel me?
We have to develop. Well, you knew he was on the way out as soon as he said that. But Rich Rodriguez, for everything that he is not, he understands the business of football.
Yeah.
And I think as somebody with experience in that league, he knows how difficult it is to get your tier 2, tier 3 games on television. It's not that difficult in the SEC. It's not been that difficult in the Big 12. It certainly is not difficult in the Big 10. Yet the Pac-12 has struggled with this since its inception. And I that's why I'm telling you, I know everybody looks at streaming and go all in on Amazon Prime.
Well, and you look
If
at,
Amazon Prime will still have it.
and look at this, and I know we always work this MLS Apple thing, right? Like that's always
Yes.
kind of the go-to. But you're getting major names in this conversation, like major talking heads, right? The Marchands of the world, and you know, the Orans of the world, and even Wilner and Canzano, for all their flaws, talking about the fact that MLS went all in on Apple, obviously. And now it's like, all right, let's see what the reaction is to it. I think the only problem is MLS can afford a bad 5-year window where nobody watches them. If you really think about it, they can survive. They can get by through that deal and work that out after
Yes.
the deal's expired. The Pac can't do that, man. Right? You can't have just a god-awful pay me nothing TV deal. And I know, hey, there it's likely, like we have it on really good information, that the number's $25 million a year. The only question is how that's going to be broke out and what the networks or outlets are going to be. So look, for me, I don't know. I really want this TV deal and streaming deal to be good, but I have my doubts, especially when Amazon is like, hey, we only want one game a week. We only want a certain little bit of your total product. So if Oregon and Washington aren't cool with that, you're telling me that like Oregon State or like the sub-tier school is just okay with that?
Yeah.
Anybody notice what the commissioner of the Mountain West was kind of talking about recently? Like, I know they did this whole, scam everybody announcement on Twitter where they're like, oh, hey, big announcement tomorrow, guys, right? Turns out it's just the release of their schedule, right? No big deal. And I understand
not a big
that.
announcement.
Not a big announcement. But what no one's paying attention to is what she's saying, which is, hey, she literally said in media availability in an interview, it's my job to keep my ear to the street on expansion talks across college football, because we know that the big fish are hunting. They're not fish, they're sharks. They are hunting. And she even said, hey, it's not that we're like concerned. Concerned is the wrong word. It's more that we're prepared. We know that that's an inevitability. So when we talk about like TV deals and expansion and things happening, it's not a question of if Oregon and Washington are going to bounce. It's when they're going to bounce.
Yes.
Now, that's 5 years from now because they got a TV deal done. Okay, great. But I'm telling you, the Big Ten, SEC, duke it out thing is going to happen. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily believe that it's all doom and gloom for the Pac-12. I think it's mostly doom and gloom because I don't think you're going to have an easy road to get this grant of rights done. I think that could be just as long as this home stretch of these negotiations. Because, again, if you're Washington and Oregon, why are you locking into the conference for 5 years? You're not. And the idea that there's out clauses, there's no out clauses. There's no out clauses. You're going to sign a grant of rights, 5 years, you're staying, right? There's no out clauses. And it's cool that you're getting all these deals done, and it's cool that you're signing future agreements. Leagues don't want to wait. Look at OU and Texas paying to get out early, right? Leagues don't want to wait. And I'm telling you right now, there's a lot of value for Oregon and Washington to find a new home, even if it's a financial write-down for a first couple of years. There's real value in that. The guys that are going to suffer in these conversations about the Pac-12 specifically, it's going to be the lesser schools. It's going to be Oregon State, Washington State. It's going to be a school like Utah, who deserves so much better than this. And I know you're probably tired of hearing me say it. Utah, its players, its coaches, its alumni, they deserve better than this. And I feel like Utah's just along for a surfboard ride on the current. Like they're just chilling, taking and going where the water's going to take them.
Kick it, we'll flow.
I mean, somehow we got into this position where the Big 12 is some kind of step down from the Pac-12. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, it's not. And again, I know it pissed a bunch of people off, and we must have got a dozen people who said, we're not going to listen to your show anymore. Because I said, hey, the Pac-12 is only, or the Big 12 is only slightly more stable than the Pac-12. But tell me what's wrong with that statement. Tell me how that statement is inaccurate. Because I'm telling you now, the Big 12 is only slightly more stable than the Pac-12. These tables could easily be turned if the Big 12 hadn't gone out to market early, but they did.
Well, and I think it's what the Mountain West commissioner said, right? It's the same kind of concept where, like, you have the commissioner of the Mountain West saying, hey, we're not concerned. It's not like we're in a place where we're scared or worried or again, concerned, but we're prepared. We're ready. We have an action plan. We know, she literally says, we know who we would add should someone pick up one of our schools. So my point is, if you're Brett Yormark, this is twofold. Who do you want to add now? Who are you hunting? Is that San Diego State? Is that Boise? Is that Gonzaga? Piss everybody off, Gonzaga. Who you want to add. And also, I think you know what your contingency plan would be if the SEC or the Big Ten came calling. So, yeah, the Big 12 may be in a little bit better of a position than the Pac-12. Yeah, they got a media rights deal. There's a certain level of reliability in that, right? Like, you're basically one step forward of the pack right now. That doesn't make you bulletproof.
No, not at all. Not at all. And I think James Knight is asking us a facetious question. How real is Ion TV as a potential Pac-12 partner?
James, and I'm being genuine, James. I'm not even hating on it. Is that a real question, or are you being facetious?
Yeah, we've talked about this.
I'd like you to answer that.
I think James, yeah, I think you know. Neville93 says, what's up, brothers? Driving back to Utah already here in Vegas. Nice. Weren't you in LA or something? I thought I saw, as usual, posting awesome pictures. I think so. Jeff Johnson says, hey, I made it. What's up?
What's up, Geoff?
Capazzo says, George going to get fired. I think it's a real possibility. I think once you get resolution on these TV deals, I think the disappointment in George Kliavkoff is real.
But let me pose this question, though. I mean, if you're going to fire the guy, why? Like, I understand that time is not infinite here, right? Like, obviously, some people will tell you that through this process, the Pac-12 is still only in the second quarter. They're still barely approaching halftime, if you will, of a football game. I'm telling you, it's way later in the game than that. I think we're heading into the fourth quarter, and you're down 14 points. You're down 2 possessions. You got to get this thing like going. And to me, if you're gonna start talking about firing George Kliavkoff, you're already way late on this. If you wanted to fire Buddy, you needed to fire Buddy before like a while ago, because he's already messed this up. So let me get this right. You want him to do this deal, get the grant of rights done. Then you're going to fire him and bring someone else in to basically play mop-up duty. I mean,
that's exactly what they're talking about.
I just don't understand that logic. I guess, if you do a bad job, you get fired. I obviously that's how the world works, but I don't understand why you would just, let him screw you, then ship him out, and I'm assuming he's probably got a buyout clause in his contract.
I think because there's no way to have somebody else finish up this job.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way to have anybody else finish up this job. It's just not possible. It's one of those things where how are you, as a Pac-12, supposed to responsibly say to the rest of your presidents, hey, we need to replace George and hire X guy, and he's going to come in and negotiate the rest of our contract.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you do that, because, again, I will look straight at Brett Yormark, excuse me. I will look straight at Brett Yormark.
Yeah.
And I'll say, hey, that's an entertainment tycoon right there.
It is.
I need a Bob Iger to be my next commissioner of the Pac-12.
A veteran.
I need an operator, somebody who's been involved in TV. Give me a Bob Thompson. Give me a Bob Iger. Give me somebody who's been there and done that, because I need that guy to negotiate my next rights deal. That's who the Pac-12 should have hired. They hired a guy who has no idea what he's doing. They hired a guy who, in my opinion, has not been – he's just not qualified.
Yeah.
He's not ready. He's not able, George Kliavkoff, to do the job. He's not ready to execute at a level that is going to save, sustain, and allow for future growth of what should be one of the dominant conferences in the country.
And that's the shame in it. I mean, and I know we've said this a bunch, but like when you have geography that's in California, Oregon, Seattle, San Diego, if you will, at some point, hopefully, there's a lot of talk about adding San Diego State. Obviously, they haven't, but you get my point. Like, that's some of the best geography in the country, and geography definitely matters. And I think, again, it's so funny. It's so funny to me how this works, because if you break it down by geography, the conferences with the worst geography are doing the best. And you know why that is? Because they don't think they're above you, in the sense that they're not sitting here saying, oh, like, yeah, we're bulletproof. No, they're saying, hey, yeah, we put ourselves in a great position, but we got to continue to make money. We got to continue to grow and continue to stay on top.
Yeah, I agree. Charles M. says, do any of you feel like something big is about to go down? With the suddenly dead silence following a mad flurry of realignment chatter. What dead silence?
Yeah, what do you mean?
Klyavkov keeps getting one extension after another. The last being to mid-March. What extension are you talking about? Which many viewed as beyond the point of all reason. I have no idea. I don't know what you're talking about. If you want to explain that, Charles, I'm happy to.
Yeah, what do you mean?
I have no idea what you're talking. We're not in the business of guessing if big things are going to happen. George Klyavkov's under contract. He's gotten no extensions.
Yeah.
So I don't know what contract extension you're talking about, or extension. I don't know what that means.
Maybe what he means. Maybe what he means is this idea that, the deal, the TV deal, the distribution deal was supposed to be done by, Thanksgiving. Then it was Christmas. Now it's March.
Yeah, but that's not an extension. I mean, that's just the reality of the climate we're in. I mean,
that's the ball rolling.
There was never a hard, fast deadline. They wanted to get it. I think they thought that they would come out of their exclusive window of negotiating with their current partners at ESPN and Fox, and they would immediately be able to negotiate a deal with somebody else.
Right.
Well, somebody else went to the Big Ten, and somebody else went to the Big 12, and there was not anybody else available. They got beat. So now you're trying to piece something together. You're talking about, I guess, if this is what you mean, extensions. There was nothing to extend. There's no deadline. I mean, the deadline is, frankly, they basically have this next football season.
Right.
And then into next basketball season. They've got essentially a year left on their TV deal. I mean, they could sign it 364 days from now, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But you're out of, at that point, you're getting nothing. You're getting pennies on pennies. Yeah. I mean, you have very little leverage now. You'd have no leverage then.
Yep.
Because all of a sudden your games won't be on TV.
Yeah, you got to get it done as soon as possible. I mean, anyone telling you different is just not understanding.
Jake Gordon, a member of the show, says, did your guys' blood bags touch? They did not. When you fell out and passed out, they did not.
Yeah, our bags didn't ever touch and never do.
Wow. Thank you for that. Ron McClure says, Rich Rod's a joke, just saying. Carl, well, I mean, but what does winning and losing on the football field have to do with his expertise about the business of the Pac-12?
Yeah.
I wouldn't think it has anything to do. Carl Adams says he wins just about everywhere he goes. Very funny. He does win. Rich Rodriguez wins. I mean, it's hard to, I mean, there you go, Ron McClure, 118 and 83. He wins.
Yeah.
He wins. Carl says, I have mixed feelings about Rich Rod, but he's not wrong. If you're going to trade exposure for media distribution, then it better be worth it. Well, and again, I'll put up what Rich Rod said. He's talking about the Pac-12 with Dennis Dodd from CBS. And Rich Rod said, what is to stop Oregon and Washington from going to the Big Ten? From Arizona and Arizona State going to the Big 12? I would think they're teetering on the brink right now. That's exactly right. I would think they are teetering on the brink.
I just think that makes sense. I don't think that that's like a controversial, like out of left field thing. I think that makes sense.
I think it makes a lot of sense. Capazzo says, Jake, he's going to get fired for this dumpster fire he created during these negotiations. Performance matters, and he's not cut the mustard. No, he hasn't.
But let me ask you this, and I don't disagree. I don't disagree at all. I just think it's really interesting from a business sense. Like, if you wanted to fire this guy, wouldn't you have done it like 8 months ago? Because this is not a new conversation, right?
Not at all.
Like this is something that's been going on for a long time. So like because for me, if I was going to fire George Klyavkov, I would have done it when the Big 12 beat us. When the Big 12 beat the Pac-12 to the TV deal. Because at that moment, if you know anything, and that's the other side of this that we need to get to, but if you know anything about anything with these distribution deals, you knew at that time last year that you were in deep trouble because the Big 12 have beaten you to market, and the SEC and the Big 10, right, and the ACC were already spoken for. So there's not a bunch of money left for them to just pour into your conference. So if you were going to fire him, you should have fired him then. Like, my point is it's almost too late to fire him now. That's the thing.
Yeah, I don't know how you save face at all here. I mean, can we all at least agree? Like, if we don't agree on the Big 12 versus the Pac-12, I mean, you have to agree that you are now operating in a very weakened position if you're the Pac-12. Like, just in general, I mean, if you're asking somebody to borrow a broom, they're going to leverage you for it. I mean, what is your position of strength here? Because I don't know what that is. I really don't. I mean, it's crazy. Ruff's official says they said these same things about Larry Scott. I'm sure they did.
Yeah.
I'm sure they did.
Well, and that's the other thing, too. Like, you basically, and we've talked a lot about it, you've basically hired Larry Scott version 2. I mean, it's the same struggles. You still don't have a streaming deal. And again, I think that's another layer that no one ever talks about. Like, the conversation shouldn't be, will you have your distribution on like 3 different platforms? The conversation should be, hey, what's the specific TV money? Then let's look at, distribution on streaming.
Well, and I think that's where the Big Ten is. The Big Ten got the largest TV deal in the history of college athletics. And now they're working to go on to the streaming side of it. Because if they want to expand, they have to find a new revenue source. Well, what's that new revenue source?
Yeah.
Well, it's a streaming deal. And I think that's where Oregon and Washington play a critical role. And Big Ten expansion is, hey, you need to find a new influx of cash. I think the Pac-12 was never in position to even consider that because they have no options. They have to kind of take what's being given to them. It's a terrible position to be in. It is. I don't envy them. It's a terrible position to be in.
Would firing George Kliavkoff give them the shock to the system that they need?
Oh, boy. I mean, the shock to the system.
Like, think about it, because the position you're in, like, we've talked about how, you are hammering your head. You're hammering your head on trying to get a distribution deal done. And I've said repeatedly that you need to do a 180 and bring it all in-house. Almost a shocking move, if you will. And to me, I look at George, and I agree with you guys. He's done a really poor job. That's not even some shocking take. He has done a poor job. And so this conversation about firing him, I'm almost like, dude, like, yeah, maybe, hey, if you fired him today, let's say, or tomorrow, maybe that's the shock to the news cycle you need. Maybe that's like what kind of brings everyone's feathers up, and they're like, whoa, you did what? And then you bring someone in. I don't know. I just think that's an interesting concept.
Yeah. Hi. Go ahead and hit the like button. Appreciate you guys being here today. Please give us a like. It really does help the channel grow. As we talk about Big 12, Pac-12, and the Pac-12 TV situation here on the Monty Show. Anytime that we are talking college football here on the program, it's presented by our good friends at Barbecue Pit Stop, bbqpitstop.com. Anytime you hear Barbecue Pit Stop, you think the best equipment in the barbecue business because they have it all. Whether it's a Big Green Egg, a Traeger, a Yoder, you name it, a Camp Chef pizza oven, they've got it. But they've also got the best experts in the business because it's one thing to have the equipment. It's another thing to understand how to use it. And the guys at Barbecue Pit Stop are going to show you how to use it. They're going to be available to you 24/7 on their website at bbqpitstop.com. They have a great little chat bot. Like if you're putting a brisket on and you're like, man, low and slow. What temperature is low and slow? You can chat with the guys at Barbecue Pit Stop right on their website, and they're going to tell you, hey, it's 200. Hey, how long do I need to let it rest in a cooler? Do I really need to wrap it in a towel after it's done? They're going to give you all of the best on everything at Barbecue Pit Stop. That's why you go to there. Whether it's Logan, Layton, Lehigh, St. George, or our good friends in Murray on State Street across from the mall, all those guys are local business owners, entrepreneurs who are grinding to make sure you're a customer for life. That's the kind of service you want. By the way, again, I know I tell you this all the time. If you have not gotten the asado seasoning from Flavor Knuckles, bbqpitstop.com. Hook it up, shop online. They'll ship it right to your front door. bbqpitstop.com. It is the single best seasoning in the business. Again, let me put that back up. Asado seasoning from Flavor Knuckles, man.
Yes.
It's everything you want. It's wings, chops, steaks, salads, you name it. You can do it with Asado seasoning. Now on here, they tell you it's grill seasoning. I think the single best discovery I've made about Asado seasoning is scrambled eggs. Dude, you make some scrambled eggs with Asado seasoning, good night.
Yeah, dude, it's bomb.
Good night. It's over. Make sure you tell the guys at Barbecue Pit Stop you heard about it on the Monty program. Speaking of Monty, hey, Monty. Riley O'Brien, what's up? Hope all you are well. The best damn sports talk and, frankly, talk show in general in Utah. Thanks, Riley. Good to see you.
Appreciate you, bro.
Riley, the best RV sales professional in Utah. He's over there at General RV in Draper. Make sure you go by and say hello to him. Xavier Pena says, like all casuals are confused right now about what's really going on. I think everybody is. And I think this situation, the thing that I struggle with is I don't think people understand why they don't have a deal yet. Like, who said it? Was it Ruff's official? Losing teams in expansion are what's holding up a TV deal. It's not rocket science. It's not expansion.
Yeah, agree with you, bro.
It's not expansion.
Yeah.
Absolutely, USC and UCLA, that crippled this conference. There's no question about that. The reason they don't have a deal done yet is because they're not unified, and they don't have a leader, and they don't have a message. And there are 10 presidents, because USC and UCLA simply are not involved.
Right.
But there are 10 presidents who I would say 6 of them are aligned, and then there's 4 of them that just have their own thing going on. And are like, nah, I'm not going to do this. Or, you know, I think some of the newer, like the president of Oregon State, I think would go on for this first grant of rights and be like, yeah, okay, I'll follow the herd. But they, like the presidents like President Kase at Washington does not want streaming. She does not want streaming. And I think it is, what's the right way to say it? I think it is, it's not naivete. I think it's fear. You're making decisions based on money, which is always the wrong thing to do, whether you're in life or you are running a conference. If you're making decisions based on money, you're going to make the wrong decision.
Facts.
You should be making decisions based on what is best for your situation. And everybody's got a different answer for that because, again, they don't have leadership and they don't have unification. This expansion thing that everybody's chasing, dude, it's not real. It's not real because there is not an expansion partner that saves your bacon.
What are you, nuts?
Yeah, we've talked about this. It's not real.
Yes.
You can sit here and talk about San Diego State being the savior of the Pac-12. It's not real.
It's not fucking real.
I'm telling you, it's not real. Because you get San Diego State and let's call it Fresno State or Boise. What does that really do for you?
Yeah.
ESPN's not paying for that. San Diego State.
Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
San Diego State, maybe. But man, I'm telling you, Fresno State,
Yeah, I mean, I think the trouble is that, 10 months ago, a year ago, adding San Diego, SMU, even Fresno State, even though I'm not a huge fan of that move, would have been impactful. But now it's not because you're in a different place.
That's exactly right. Now it's not. James Knight says, hey, how does the smoker work? Forgive my ignorance, but it's not as prevalent here in Australia. You quite literally plug it in. You put pellets in that. There's a little box called a hopper.
Yeah, they call it a hopper, yeah.
Pour the pellets in there and hit ignite. You are now smoking.
I think the thing that people get a little trippy on is like strategies when you're, cooking fish or cooking steak or cooking brisket or cooking this or cooking that. And people get kind of intimidated by that. But that's genuinely why we partnered with Barbecue Pit Stop, because the staff there will tell you all those things. So they have the smoker, they have the seasonings, Asado is bomb, they've got your tongs and mats and all that good stuff.
Tongs.
But you can call them and be like, hey man, I just got my Ironwood XL from you guys. I'm trying this thing out. I got the drip tray in there. I put my mat down. I got it plugged in and turned on. But how do I do this? Do I just do 225 for 4 days? Or what do I do?
4 days.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, you just leave it on there 4 or 5 days when it comes. It's probably not going to be there when you get back, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, James, I'm a smoking king. I love it. Xavier Pena says, I already read that one. MH5 says, what if the best remaining ACC, Pac-12, and Big 12 brands get together and form a whole new conference? What teams would that be? Oof.
Okay. While we marinate on that, because I think it's a difficult question to answer, honestly. I think that's not an easy question to answer. But think about this when you think about the APAC or that situation. Okay, great. You all banded together. That's fine. But that doesn't mean you have Georgia and Alabama playing each other for your conference championship game, right?
No.
Like you still don't have the most meaningful college football matchups in the land. So cool, you can band together, but that's not going to change a lot.
Well, and I think a lot of people forget that, like, everybody talks about football. Basketball matters. Like in the ACC, that's a basketball conference.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. I look at the Big 12. The Big 12, and I know this will piss people off, it's a basketball conference right now. You're not an elite football conference. I mean, adding BYU and Houston and Cincinnati, that's going to help you.
Yeah.
Those are great football programs, but you're a basketball conference right now. Right? TCU was a revelation. K-State was a revelation.
Right.
Can you really count on Kansas? Can you really count, like, what happened to Gundy and Oklahoma State last year? Can they rebound? Like, there's a lot of football questions in that conference. There ain't a whole lot of basketball questions, I'd tell you that.
Yeah, dude.
Hey, welcome Car Wash Channel to the membership. What's up, Car Wash Channel? Good to see you. Make sure you DM Jake, SLC Jake. He'll put you right into the members-only Instagram chat, which has been lit. It was a very rough day for Tanner Plummer.
Yeah, the Super Soaker, unfortunately, that was rough.
Yeah. Tanner tried to get defensive.
You're so fucked.
The regulators mounted up. You know,
That's every day.
dropped a bunch of gifts on him. It's pretty freaking amazing.
Welcome to the program, sir.
Yeah, Car Wash Channel, welcome to the show. Make sure you DM Jake. Hey, if you guys want to join the membership, it is a great program. It's $9.99 a month. You can cancel it anytime. It gets you exclusive content. All of our insider information goes to our insiders first. We appreciate that. Click the link or click on the join button that we have in the chat for you or on your YouTube channel. There's a big white join button. Click on that. $9.99 a month gets you into our membership. Then DM Jake because he is going to put you into the members-only group on Instagram. Mr. Preston says DM chat was hot today. It was. Jeff Johnson says go Tanner. Exactly. T. Lawrence Gragston says, and UNLV Pac-12, you've already holding events there. Take over the city in San Diego State as well or fold. I wonder how valuable. It's just that UNLV does not win anything. Like they, and we've talked about this on the show before about UNLV's value.
Right.
What is their value proposition to the Pac-12?
Different market,
I
guess.
I mean, it just doesn't. I don't know that there's a whole lot of value there. I think you're right. You could dominate the market. You already have your championship games there, and
Yeah.
you have bowl tie-ins there. I mean, I just don't know. Man, I just don't know how valuable Vegas is. I think that's a very interesting one. I think that is a very interesting one. Alan Corbin says Pac-12 should have taken the Big 12 schools in 2021 when they had the chance. Well, truer words have never been spoken.
Facts.
I would agree with that. Kay Nurin says the Pac's casket has been ordered. Funeral services are being held at the Big 12 and the Big 10. Wow.
Is this the dagger?
Okay.
This escalated quickly.
Okay. James Knight says, I find the League Pass struggle to stream. Is that the app or my connection? The League Pass.
Great question, dude.
How do you in Austin? James Knight, for those of you who don't know, he's one of our best listeners, one of our longtime listeners.
Yeah.
James is in Melbourne, Australia. So are you an NBA League Pass guy? Are you using that through the NBA app? Because the NBA app is atrocious. I'm not even going to lie. I can't even use it.
Yeah.
There are times where it just is not operating. So that's a really interesting question that you broached.
Yeah.
James, how do you get the NBA League Pass? I would love to know that.
Well, I'm guessing. I mean, again, I'm sure he'll answer us, but I'm guessing it is the NBA app because I don't know, are you home enough to justify the cost of YouTube TV and then access the League Pass through YouTube TV? Because
is that what you do?
No, I have DirecTV.
Oh, shoot. That's right.
Yeah, I have
it's
DirecTV,
baked in your apartment complex.
Yeah,
That's
I don't
right.
have a choice.
That's right.
I mean, I could not do it. But the thing is, quick sidebar. The thing is, the complex that I'm at, they make you pay, this $170 like technology package so that they can cover their DirecTV fee.
That's right.
And their internet fee.
That's right. I forgot about that.
The problem is, what nobody tells you is that you still got to go to DirecTV and pay for your packages and pay for your add-ons. You get like 5 channels as part of that. So you really aren't getting DirecTV as part of that. That's the problem.
Yeah, Yeah, it's frustrating. Mapes, what's up, Mike Maples? Good to see you, buddy. The NFL Sunday Ticket better not have issues on YouTube this year. Year one will determine if it stays there long term, dude.
Oh, I don't think it'll have issues,
I don't
bro.
think so at all.
I think the NFL struggles in a lot of areas, right? Like I've ripped the NFL to no end on this show, but what they don't struggle to do is broadcast. You can find their stuff easily, like very easily.
Ruff's official says the League Pass app is horrible. Their programmers probably went to Oregon. Oh, my God.
Poverty program, bro.
As you can see, there's not much hope for you left.
That's amazing. James Knight says, yes, NBA League Pass watching through Apple TV. Oh, okay, gotcha.
Okay, yeah.
Gotcha.
See,
Well, I'm with Ruffs on this one. I think the NBA streaming stuff, frankly, has been a letdown. I'm not going to lie. It is, because we talked about cutting the cord last year.
Yeah.
And we didn't, because I don't think we're there yet in sports. Because you cannot easily access the games that you want on stream right now. You have to go hodgepodging a bunch of stuff together, and that sucks. So I think we're probably a little ahead of cutting the cord.
Just a little bit.
I could be wrong.
But I think I will say, when the Jazz get their new TV deal and they, roll out, a streaming package or,
Which, by the way, today I was told that the Jazz are going to have an MSG style package.
Mm-hmm.
We've had some odd conversations the last week, dude.
We have.
I should stop answering the phone. We have had some, and this isn't, hey, let me tell you who I've talked to.
No, it's not like that.
Dude, we've had some weird conversations this last week. It's been an intense week. I'm ready to go to bed. But yeah, James, that's a struggle. Yeah,
but my point was is that when the Jazz roll out their new streaming package, the MSG style one, for me, if I can, I hope that I can access that through YouTube TV or in James's case, Apple TV. If I can do that, if I have that integration, that'll make that a lot more attractive for me. If I can't, I'll probably still cut the cord, honestly, because that's the only real reason I have DirecTV, because AT&T Sportsnet is not accessible on YouTube TV right now. And
or
obviously, and now it's ever, right? They're going out of business. And so that's the reason I have it.
Hey, wait, by the way, you jerks. Sources, bro. What did we tell you about Ion the other day? Oh, that Ion was working on the regional baseball packages and stuff. By the way, did you see that the head of Scripps Sports today did an interview, and what did he say they were working on? Oh, yeah, picking up all the RSN packages that Bally's and AT&T Sportsnets are going to leave in the lurch. Yeah, we told you. Righto again, bud.
Who's that at the door? Mr. I told you so.
No, it's your mom, and I'm taking her to No, stop. No mom jokes on this show today.
Relax.
No mom jokes on the show. Tyler Edit says, are you guys ever going to incorporate call-in segments on the Monty Show?
I will not do. Here's what I'll tell you. I'll never do call-ins. We have ways. We could, if you're asking because you would like to have a take. If you're asking because you would like this show to
have a take, don't suck.
Some shades of Jim Rome. I mean, you could email me a video take if you want, and I'll watch it and review it. I can't guarantee it's going to get on the program.